How confident are you in your run stopping ability? I know last year you had a really big year in being able to just stop the run. I assume that's the role you'd be brought in to do this year. How
Yeah,
confident are you in that ability?
I'm very confident. That's been my job since I've been in college, so I'm definitely going to keep doing it.
Justin Rogers is a space eating defensive tackle who was a 5-star recruit and the number 10 overall prospect, according to rivals, coming out of high school, who has a significant opportunity to impress early on this season. He was recruited by Kentucky while only in the 8th grade, so he demonstrated his talent early on. He played 3 seasons with Kentucky before transferring to Auburn in his final year. The fact that he was able to play for 2 SEC schools during his college career speaks volumes, especially what the coaches thought of him as a player. That's the kind of career that'll get an NFL team's attention. For this team to progress, they must excel at the one technique position, with players such as Carl Davis Jr. and Mozzie Smith also competing. This should be a key position to focus on during training camp, Cowboys Nation. So when you're taking a look at Justin Rogers, it's clear that the one technique position is critical to take that next step when it matters most. The player doesn't need to be the most athletic, but if they can be able to stop the run, be a true two-down type of player, and have the ability to be able to get after the quarterback, that's a bonus. So on this play here, you want to see if your defensive tackle has the ability to be able to disengage and get to the quarterback. Now, he wasn't a guy that had many sacks throughout his college career, but seeing this on film and getting the proper coaching, I believe that he can flash this ability from time to time. So he's going to be lined up in between that left guard and that left tackle. And the good thing is, in Auburn's defense, he was lined up over the center as well as that one technique position, clogging lanes up on top of showing that he can be able to get to the quarterback from time to time. And that's exactly what he did on his rep. So we'll go ahead and spin the block. So watching Justin Rogers shocking this guy at the line of scrimmage. And it's so good to be able to have a guy that can be able to get their hands on you, drive their legs, and be aggressive, and has the ability to be able to drive their guy all the way to the backfield. You can disengage and close in and get to the quarterback. And these are the things you like to see when it comes down to the defensive tackle position. And he's one of the players that only had a few sacks throughout his whole college career. But if you can be one of the players that can force the quarterback into a bad mistake, this is how you can be able to get turnovers. And these are the type of plays here that can bring out a better Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence. Interior pressure is one of the hardest things to get around. So this was definitely a good rep from Justin Rogers. So here's a rep here of him playing for Kentucky. And it's so good to be able to show this to you guys. We want to see the Auburn film as well as the Kentucky film to see if this guy has what it takes pound for pound. So it's going to be a run to the inside, and he's lined up over that center. And throughout this game, he was giving that center a lot of problems. But when you have a defensive tackle that can be able to use their hands well, reset the offensive lineman, this will blow up timing when it comes down to the offense. And this is another one of those solid plays by Justin Rogers that we like to see on film. So let's run it. So watching that left guard, he's chipping Rogers. He's going to get to that linebacker. But when you see Rogers being able to get his hands on this guy and disengage, and the thing is, whenever you can have a guy that can be able to understand leverage and use their hands, you can force these offensive linemen into a mistake. And all it takes is half a second for you to be able to attack and get to the running back. And this is what you like to see, Cowboys Nation. The thing is with this type of player here, when you're going up against a guy that's over 330 pounds, and you can have a guy that can go out there and win his battles one-on-one from time to time, setting that tone early, it's extremely important to have that physicality early in games and get things going. Here's a clip of him going up against Cedric Van Pran, a player who was drafted in the 5th round by the Buffalo Bills. It's always interesting to see top tier matchups in the trenches. As far as playing that defensive tackle position, you need a player who can handle double team blocks, allowing the linebackers to scrape and roam freely and attack the football. And this player did just that. So we'll go ahead and run it. So watching Van Pran and that left guard attack Rodgers, and it looked like he was bench pressing both of those guys. That left guard, number 50, he was able to disengage and get to the running back. But the good thing about a guy like Justin Rogers, you're going in there, clogging things up, and being a cleanup guy. And that is gold when it comes down to that defensive tackle position, because a lot of these NFL teams, you will see a lot of double team blocks. They're going to be running wicked stunts against you. So you have to be stout at the line of scrimmage. And I like to see these type of plays right here, because when you have that wide base, that is classic nose tackle, classic one technique, being able to just get in the way and make things harder for the running back. Can he be one of the players that can clog up lanes and allow your linebackers to boogie? This is how you can be able to separate the men from the boys when it comes down to the gridiron. Endurance is very important when it comes down to playing in the NFL. You got a lot of those guys on the offensive line. They are in very, very good shape. And I have seen a lot of good plays from Justin Rogers, but you see a lot of plays where he's going one-on-one against a lot of these offensive linemen, and he is getting no push at all. So running this play here, you see the centers attacking Justin Rogers. In the center, he was able to get his hands in the interior. Justin Rogers' hands was just waving on the outside. And usually with these centers, if they can be able to get leverage, they can be able to control you and wash you out the play. And there were a lot of plays that I saw like this with Justin Rogers going one-on-one against a lot of these offensive linemen throughout the third quarter and the fourth quarter. It seemed like he was a little tired. So you got to make sure that you get that stamina right, because you will be seeing those top teams in the most important games in the NFL. And a lot of these teams, they like to run the ball, and you don't want these guys to be able to get a lot of push as far as the offensive line, because that's how you can be able to set up play action. So being on top of it, making sure that you're whipped into good shape is going to be needed when it comes down to the big time games. So here's another play here of him going up against that right guard and one-on-ones. And these guys, they're clashing at the line of scrimmage, but the quarterback, he's stepping up in the pocket and comfortably throwing the ball. So you will see your good plays when it comes down to this player. But having a guy like Mike Zimmer, that in-your-face type of defensive coordinator, I'm sure that he'll be able to get this guy right. The advantage of a guy like Justin Rogers is his comprehension of his role during the play. He understands his responsibilities and knows how to act to give his teammate an edge. Having a good understanding of what the defensive linemen are doing, as well as what the offensive linemen are trying to do to you on any given rep. And when you're seeing Justin Rogers attacking Van Pran and allowing that defensive tackle to stunt to the outside and still make a play, this was a thing of beauty, Cowboys Nation, and this can get the whole defense fired up. So we're going to run it. So keying on Justin Rogers, he's getting off the ball and attacks him at the line of scrimmage. And the thing is, they were double team blocking that other defensive tackle, but that allowed him to loop around and complete his stunt. And seeing Justin Rogers just going out there and flipping his hips just like that, next thing you know, this guy closed in and made the tackle. And this is so good to be able to see this from a defensive tackle. And with guys like Mike Zimmer and Will McClay, you want to have guys that can be bullies in the interior, have a good understanding of what these offensive linemen are doing, whether if you're attacking a guy, helping a guy out in double teams, or if you're stopping a run, be a guy that can be able to disrupt and make a difference. Here's a quick play of him being able to attack the left guard, extending his arms and ripping to the left side. And this was one of those reps where he did attack the quarterback. He wasn't able to get him. And this shows that he's not the most athletic type of player. Some of these quarterbacks can get away from him. So defenders, they're going to have to be on top of it. If you can have a defensive tackle that can be able to get in the guy's face and force this guy to be able to get outside the pocket, the defensive end, the linebackers, they're going to have to close in and make these type of plays. But sometimes if you can be able to force a quarterback to try to make a quick decision, these guys end up making mistakes. Not the most athletic defensive tackle, but the hand usage and completely throwing that right guard, it was fireworks, Cowboys Nation. With the one technique position in the NFL, said player would have his growing pains. He is aggressive. He has good size, and he's a tank in the interior. There's a lot he has to work on, but if the Cowboys strike gold with this guy, it can change everything for the defense, Cowboys Nation. So on this final play here, you love to see your defensive tackle being able to stymie these guys at the line of scrimmage at the goal line. The offensive line, they made a mistake on this play, but seeing a guy like Justin Rogers, he went out there and capitalized off of it. So let's run it. So seeing the center, he went out there and locked in on that linebacker. And next thing you know, Justin Rogers, he roamed free. And you don't want a guy that's 330 pounds having a free lane like that, but having a guy that can be aware of that center's mistake and going out there and closing in and getting to that running back. This is tough boy type of football. And the thing is, when you have a player that has played for Kentucky and you've played for Auburn, that shows that this guy has a lot to offer, and he's going to have to prove it when it comes down to training camp. So with guys like Justin Rogers, it's going to be good to see how this all plays out. He has the size to be able to clog things up, allowing your linebackers to go out there and make plays. We need that when it comes down to this defense, because if you don't have that right when it comes down to the one technique, it's going to allow these offenses to be able to run the ball and set up play action. And if we're going to be able to take that next step, we got to get it right. Guys like Carl Davis Jr., Mozzie Smith, Justin Rogers, they got to get it going and early. The competition is going to be ramped up and it's going to be exciting to see. So comment below and let me know what you guys think about Justin Rogers and if this guy can be able to go out there and make a difference early on in training camp, because that position is going to be the route to get to where they want to go. So make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe and hit that notification bell, because the way the YouTube algorithm works, if you don't hit it, you'll miss on fire live streams and the best Cowboys film sessions on YouTube. All right, Cowboys Nation. Talk to y'all soon. Gone.